the people who stand out, the faceless crowd, lost and found, picking up on the speed of sound to faster ground, moving on. I can't hold back all the new progress, what I've done best, but how about now? Showing off all of the things you missed, all your interests.
Anime fights are probably the reason 90% of us watch anime. The emotion, the action, the animation all come together to make some of the most entertaining and hyped moments we can see in our regular everyday lives. And I'm sure everyone watching has their own favorite fights they show to their friends or watch over and over again. So today, as a thank you for 500 subscribers, I'm going to tell all you guys my top 10 favorite fights in anime to help y'all get to know me a little better. So, if you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see whenever I post a new video. And if you like this video, go ahead and check out my What If videos I post every Sunday. Also, since this is a top 10 list, obviously spoilers for the shows included. If you see I'm going to talk about an anime you like and haven't seen, feel free to skip past it and move on to the next number. So, without further ado, this is WhatTheiF's top 5 favorite fights in anime. Number 10 is Gon vs Pito. This fight is number 10 because, honestly, it's barely a fight. It would be more accurate to call it a total one-sided beatdown. And, even with that being true, it's probably the best, hypest moment in the Hunter x Hunter anime. When you first see Gon completely transform into a huge, full-grown man and calmly tell Pito, "Follow me, I don't want to destroy this place." You can't even imagine what's going to happen next, or at the least I couldn't. But even with the absolute craziness of Gon's power-up, it doesn't feel out of place or unbelievable. You can see how Gon's whole arc during the last 60 or so episodes has led him to becoming a monster who will do whatever it takes for revenge. And, for the most part, the price he has to pay to beat Pito is pretty reasonable, giving up all that amazing potential that almost every character he meets comments on to beat probably the 3rd or 4th strongest character in the series. The only thing keeping this fight from being higher is how short and one-sided it is. Also, the fight is so shonen feeling with the crazy power-ups and the main character completely destroying one of the main villain's followers, but also completely different in the sense that the power-up was a real decision that will affect the main character for the rest of his life, not just this fight. And even after all this, the main villain was still too strong for anyone to beat without cheesing him. Gon literally destroyed himself to beat someone who's not the arc's main villain in a reckless, childish move. But that's exactly what Gon would do in that situation, so it makes perfect sense, like most things in Hunter x Hunter do. Number 9, Mob vs Tochiro Suzuki. Throughout Mob Psycho 100, we see Mob basically being a psychic type One Punch Man, completely destroying people when he gets serious, but when he goes up against a villain with a very similar backstory to his, you start to wonder how the fight will go, and it doesn't disappoint, with the momentum switching back and forth as each character has their own time to shine, like Tochiro turning into some Ghost Rider looking monster, and Mob yelling out his club motto, "Fight on!" as he collides with his toughest opponent yet. But what makes the fight even better is that after basically making Suzuki enter self-destruct mode, Mob doesn't leave. He stays with him because he knows how bad it is to suffer alone, and Mob is just too good of a guy to do that to someone, even a horrible person like Suzuki. The fact that Mob is able to win this fight without losing himself makes it that much better. And the way he does exactly what he sets out to do by saving everyone, including the main villain, just adds to how inspiring Mob Psycho 100 can be. Number 8 is Itadori and Todo vs Hanma. Jujutsu Kaisen's Curse Energy power system is one of the better power systems to come out of a more recent anime. It has all the classic tropes like in Ki or Chakra, but with just enough wrinkles to make it feel new. And the fact that if you explain your techniques it makes them stronger is one of the best in-canon excuses for why everyone is explaining their attacks. But this fight really shows off how you can do some crazy things with Curse Energy. Todo's Boogie Woogie is a great showcase of what's to come in the show. And the fact that it's a move that really relies on smart thinking, not just raw strength, is a nice added bonus. The action is top notch as expected in a great fight, with the villain also getting a good story of growing throughout the fight and proving curses can be much more than just evil spirits. Plus the way Todo and Itadori's friendship grows throughout the fight, and Todo using this chance to train Yuji makes it super fun to watch. It also doesn't hurt that Todo is one of the funniest and coolest characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. All in all, this was my favorite fight from Jujutsu Kaisen and got me hyped and ready for what's going to happen in the future fights. Number 7 is Krolo vs Hisoka. Krolo vs Hisoka is a manga only fight for now, so again, spoilers, but this is the best fight in Hunter x Hunter, and I hope one day they can at least animate this amazing fight. If you haven't seen it, just search up Krolo vs Hisoka on YouTube, and there's tons of videos with added movement and sound effects to help you enjoy it. But for the fight itself, it stands out for being a fight between two established bad guys and has nothing to do with the main characters. This is Hisoka and Krolo's story, and they both display how Hunter x Hunter hands down has the best power system in any anime, and how Nin is more about skill than pure power, with Krolo using everything he can to battle Hisoka, who quickly realizes he's outclassed and underprepared for the fight. The fight is so unlike any other in Hunter x Hunter, and it really shows a deeper side to both mysterious characters, and how either one of them can be the main villain of the series if they wanted to be. The fight can be hard to follow because it has a million moving parts, but when/if it gets animated, I know people will be talking about the fight for a long time. Number 6 is Kakashi vs Obito. Kakashi vs Obito is a perfect quick fight that you wouldn't have been able to have if there wasn't hours and hours of groundwork put into the story to make it so satisfying. A lot of anime, especially older ones, love to have 5-episode fights that can be great, but can also lose steam after a few episodes. So when Naruto, which is known for long flashback heavy fights, did Kakashi vs Obito, I was expecting a long drawn out war, but what we got was much better, a no nonsense fight to see who the best ninja is. And while it did have flashback, it used them in the fight to make it better and show what the others were feeling in a much more entertaining way than just saying, "This is what happened to Kakashi and Obito, you should feel bad for them." At this point, we knew about Obito, we knew about Kakashi, we just wanted to see them fight, and that's exactly what we got. And it became one of the better simple fights of skill and not just crazy hacks abilities, which felt more like OG Naruto than most of the fights in Naruto Shippuden. The fight was even made so well that if you didn't know anything about Naruto, you could understand 80-90% of the story with little to no words or context, and you would still have a great time watching this fight. Number 5 is Ren Goku vs Akaza. Whether you choose to watch the movie fight or the season 2 fight, they both are great. Demon Slayer is one of the better looking shonen anime right now, or ever. And no matter what, you're gonna like this fight. For me, I'm mainly gonna focus on the movie fight because that's the one I saw first and like more. When I watched the movie and was going into what I thought was the end, I was a little disappointed. I thought this was okay, but it just feels like I watched 3 or 4 episodes in a row of Demon Slayer, so I guess it's just average. But as soon as the demon Akaza steps out, things jumped up to the next level, and Ren Goku steps up as an A tier character. Like I said before, I'm a fan of shorter 1 or 2 episode fights, and this was perfect. It was unexpected, and I didn't know who would win. The fight was crisp with Ren Goku going all out to protect everyone from becoming a snack for the upper 3 demon. And the battle became one of whose will was stronger. Akaza constantly trying to get Ren Goku to join the demon side, while Ren Goku thinks about his father never acknowledging his skill, which finally leads to a stalemate of Ren Goku trying to finish off Akaza as the sun comes up. And after the fight, Tanjiro's speech almost perfectly echoed what I was saying to myself while watching, and made me so happy to hear it being acknowledged. If you haven't already started watching Demon Slayer Season 2, you should. Number 4 is Gohan vs Cell. So, I know I said I didn't really like old school super long fights, which I think this fight is like 10 episodes, but this is by far the best Dragon Ball Z style long fight, and by that logic, I think this fight is even better than the Frieza Goku fight, and I'll explain why. First, while Goku is the main character of Dragon Ball Z, everything in the show is leading up to Gohan taking over, with the hints of his hidden power versus Raditz, Frieza, and even in the lead up to his fight with Cell. The arc Gohan goes through is pretty great. He starts out as just a nice kid who doesn't want to fight, he just wants to be a kid, but he is constantly thrown into fights with crazy strong people that might as well be gods to normal kids, and he keeps getting stronger and more confident in the background of Goku's shadow, until, to everyone's surprise except Goku, Gohan surpasses his father. At first, Gohan doesn't even realize it until he steps into the ring with Cell and can feel for himself the difference in their power. Gohan, then true to himself, tries to give Cell a chance to surrender, not wanting to kill anyone because of his kind heart. But when Gohan finally snaps, he realizes that he can be kind and powerful, and that when push comes to shove, you have to be ready to stand up and save the people you love. I would go as far as to say Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 transformation was even better than Goku turning Super Saiyan versus Frieza, because of the way it was foreshadowed and perfectly timed, hitting a lot of the same points as Goku's, just a little better. At this point, Gohan had become the main character, and by all the Gohan what ifs I see on YouTube, a lot of people agreed with me. If only he would have kept it up for the rest of the series. Number 3 is Polnareff and Iggy versus Vanilla Ice. If Hunter x Hunter has the best power system, Jojo's is probably second, and this fight was the best in the series for me. With Obito dying literally seconds into the fight after he sacrificed himself to barely save Polnareff and Iggy, there's a sense of dread, and with the main character Jotaro occupied, there seems like a very real chance Iggy and Polnareff can lose. So, from here on out, the fight is non-stop mind games, with Polnareff in shambles from Avdol's risking his life to save him for the second time, and Polnareff trying to find a weakness in Vanilla Ice's almost perfect attack and defense. Not to mention Iggy, who, to be honest, I didn't like that much before the fight, standing up to fight with Polnareff to the end, even almost getting them the easy kill by turning his stand into a Dio lookalike. And he also has one of the best, most badass moments for any animal in anime, when even after being beaten and accused of having no resolve or pride, Iggy just smiles, almost challenging Vanilla Ice to finish him off. His smug look is perfect, even if it's just for a second. And after all this, Iggy is still able to save Polnareff with the last bit of his life force he has, giving Polnareff the final boost to his resolve needed to win the fight. At the end, even Polnareff has to admit how he only won because of both Iggy and Avdol, and then they both get the perfect send-off. Someone could have easily thought this was the final battle if they didn't know they were watching JoJo's, and I challenge you to find a better fight in part 3, or any other JoJo part that has more emotion and cool moments than this fight. Number 2 is Rockley vs Gaara. This is probably one of the most popular fights in anime, and I'm sure everyone watching this has seen it. But it being so mainstream doesn't take away from the fact of how epic it is. Gaara had been built up as an absolute monster, and seems almost unbeatable. Then, this kid who, while cool, nobody thought had half a chance against Gaara, takes him to the absolute limit. The fight is about 2.5 episodes long, I think, but it flies by, with great action, and just enough backstory for Lee to make you root for him. And lots of moments where they manage to make you think this random new character can actually beat the arc's main villain, which is a very hard thing to do. So many iconic moments like Lee dropping the weights, the kick Lee lands that is the first time Gaara has ever felt pain or been touched in his life, Gaara's final sand coffin to beat Lee, and the way Lee stands back up, still trying to fight even though he was unconscious. This fight did everything possible to make Lee a main character that could stand with Naruto and Sasuke. Even though this is basically the last thing Lee ever does in the show, it's definitely the coolest. If there's ever a time you wanted to give up or stop trying, just look at Lee's training montage and flashbacks to get a reminder that with hard work you can become a splendid ninja too. And my number 1 favorite fight in anime, Deku vs Muscular. The first time I saw this fight I was blown away. This one fight made My Hero my favorite anime I've watched so far, Deku having to save Kota and running into a villain that's basically an older evil version of him, the way Deku sets up the fight, letting us know there's not going to be a hero coming to save him. This is his one-on-one fight to prove himself as a hero, and he does. While being outmatched, he still finds a way to fight, destroying the battlefield around him and saving Kota even with his broken arms. But then, like every good fight, it reaches another level when Muscular gets back up and is just more pissed off and ready to fight for real. And with Deku not being a good enough fighter to stop this stronger, faster version of himself, all he can do is tell Kota to stand back and run, as Deku stands like a wall between the young boy and the man who killed his parents. The way Deku screams, "I will not let him pass me," as he uses all his strength to hold back this massive monster is just perfect at showing what a hero should be. Kota is even so amazed he can't move and has to stand there and watch just like all of us, even though Deku's literally leaving himself to die so Kota can get away. Even Muscular's like, damn, this kid is cool, what a hero. I mean, when the evil murderer you're fighting compliments you on how heroic you are, you know you're a badass. I've probably gone back and watched this fight more than any other. It's quick, fun, very little time is wasted on flashbacks, and at the end, when Deku stands victorious and Kota realizes how much of a hero Deku is, it's captured perfectly by the way Deku is just there, screaming out in the background. You can almost hear him saying just like, I did it, I'm a hero. Not to mention the hype of the Plus Ultra 1,000,000% smash. So that's my top 10 favorite fights in anime. If you made it this far, thanks for watching and subscribing. Don't forget to leave a comment of your favorite anime down below. That's all for me today, so until next time, I'll talk to you all later.